full gear and that lets you save.
Who cares?
True Form Life.
Green lookum.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for being here with us and being a part of our True Form Life community, whether you're listening across the country on terrestrial radio or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you, so thank you so much for your support. Today I'm going to be interviewing Matt Landsiedel, who's a transformational weight loss coach, and I gotta tell you, this is a fantastic interview. Matt and I kind of come from the same place. Well, literally, we were both born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But more directly, what I was meaning is we come from the same place when we look from the inside out. We look at morals, values. Matt talks about emotions, spirituality. He has a very interesting story himself, coming from the addictions world. As he was actually an addictions counselor, and now he moved on from counseling to personal training. If you ask me, it's very similar. I started out in the personal training world myself as well. So super excited to have Matt on the show. He's got tons of tips to help you help you learn about weight loss, keep it off, how you look from the inside out, deep within, emotionally, not just the surface. So sit back and enjoy. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
All right, welcome to another edition of Exploring Mind and Body. We've got Matt on with us. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Super excited to have you on. We've been talking back and forth for a bit, but why don't you, let's get into it. Let's do it. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Matt Landsiedel. I have a company called Matt Landsiedel Fitness. My tagline is fitness for the mind, body, and soul. So to give you guys a bit of a background, my background is actually in addiction counseling. I spent about 10 years doing addiction counseling and decided I wanted to transition away from the counseling world and decided to become a personal trainer. So in the course of those 5 years, I've been personal training, doing nutrition coaching. And about 5 months ago, I just became a full-time online trainer. So I offer all of my services online, doing fitness and nutrition coaching and transformation coaching. So still working with people along the weight loss spectrum and working with people with addiction issues as well.
How did you get into addiction? Why is that something that you started out with?
Addiction counseling I got into because I actually grew up and I struggled with addiction myself. So basically went into recovery, went to rehab, came out and decided that I wanted to help people along the path of recovery. So
is that something that's easy to talk about or challenging or?
No, very easy to talk about. Yeah, I'm very open to talking about it. So
what addictions were you struggling with?
Crack addiction.
Okay. And you grew up in Calgary?
I grew up in Calgary, yeah.
Is that something that was... I grew up in Calgary as well. And is that... I don't remember growing up that was something going around. Was that like a lot of things going... Is it like a small pocket of people or community, or how did that work?
I would say it's definitely more prevalent than people think because it's very underground, right? People don't talk openly about it. But there's when you get into the recovery scene, you start to realize how many people are actually affected by addiction in different ways. So
okay, so how does that translate now to what you're doing? So you got into personal training, health and wellness. I know you talk a lot. You go, I would say, a bit deeper. You go into spirituality, emotions. How does that, what you dealt with, translate to what you're doing now?
Yeah, I actually I struggled with finding my niche when I first got into personal training because I was missing that component. I really love working with the mind body collectively, and working with just the body wasn't stimulating enough for me. So I started to just really start sharing quotes and posts and things about my journey, but about also some of my clients' journeys around the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual aspects of making a transformation. And it just seemed to catch. People really enjoy learning about the behind the scenes of fitness. fitness, right? Because we're in the fitness industry, it's all about putting your best foot forward and only posting pictures and videos of when you were successful. And so I take the more vulnerable approach. And I like to show the realness of not just my successes, but also my struggles as well. So
yeah, it's interesting because it seems like social media is, I mean, it's so apparent. Like we live on our phones, we live on technology, but I think that I would say like 90% of stuff that goes out is like I wouldn't even call it reality, you know, like
it's not reality at all. And the funny thing, I just did a fitness competition too, and the traditional thing to do is take your photo shoot after and whatever, and it's amazing how the body rebounds after that. You stay in that body tone and shape for maybe a month at most, and then it just starts to decline. So, and then those are the pictures you're sharing, and people think this is a reality of what my life is like, and it's definitely not like that at all. It's I have an above average body, and when I cut it really strongly into a cut, yeah, you definitely look more ripped, but it's not a realistic way to live, and it's not a sustainable body.
So why is that something that you always wanted to do, or have you done them in the past?
It's something that I wanted to do. I started working at a gym where one of the owner of the gym is actually a competitive bodybuilder, and he coaches. So I was, try something different, come out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I play hockey as well, so I quit playing hockey for the year so I could focus on that. And yeah, it was fun, but one time is plenty for me.
True Form Life.
Before we get into the show, I just want to mention Complete Truth Protein. This is a plant-based protein supplement that we've designed ourselves at True Form. And the reason I designed it is because I felt like there was a need in the industry. Now, when I was traveling around the world, and I literally had a tackle box full of supplements and products and vitamins that did a whole lot more damage than good. So when I started doing more personal training and fitness classes, people would ask me what types of supplements I would recommend. And I always say, eat food. So that's why I've designed Complete Truth Protein around food. It's made with quinoa and hemp seeds. And one of the main benefits that it offers is improved digestion. So many of us deal with digestion issues on a regular basis. It also gives you a natural boost of energy. So if you head over to trueformlife.com/complete-truth-protein, we have tons of more details, videos, recipes, and everything you need to get going in the right direction with a good quality protein supplement. trueformlife.com/complete-truth-protein.
True Form Life.
Give me one or two or three tips that you took away from that maybe you didn't think that was going to happen.
Oh man. One was my sex drive is, so for two months leading up to the show and a month afterwards, I basically had no sex drive. I knew it happens. It happens to about 75% of men that compete because your body fat percentage is just so low. But yeah, it was really weird. I felt like asexual for 3 months, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? So that was definitely one. And then the other one was just how much of an impact it has on your I guess maybe your self-esteem, or like, people growing up with not feeling good enough. You're basically stripping down and standing on stage and having judges kind of judge you and define you based off of one aspect of your being, which is the physical. So it's it was just a really interesting experience that way.
So what are some of the things that you stress with your clientele? Like, what are some of your main messages when we get into specifics of when people contact you or they're looking for some help?
90% of my clientele is weight loss, transformation clients. 9 out of 10 clients reach out to me because they're struggling with the mindset or the emotional aspects of their transformation. The physical being is one aspect, right? We have the three that go together: the mind, the body, and the soul. So what I always stress with my clients is, if you're taking your body on a transformation and it's going over here, and your mind and your soul are still over here because you're not bringing them along the journey with you, it's only a matter of time before you revert back into your old habits, right? And for a lot of my clients, their old habits are self-sabotage, emotional eating, binge eating, things like that. So you really got to address the underlying emotional reasons why people are engaging in the behaviors that are leading for them to gain weight in the first place.
Tell me about self-sabotage. This is something super interesting. I think we all do it on some level. Yeah. How's it like for your clientele?
Oh, self-sabotage. I think the fuel of self-sabotage is shame. I think we have experiences in life where we don't feel good enough and we're self-critical and we beat ourselves up. And then when we start moving towards this, what I call stepping into our awesomeness, we get these shame triggers, these things that hit us, right? And we don't feel good enough to keep proceeding. So we sabotage our success. We don't want to move forward. And there's so many different behaviors that people do on the weight loss journey. It's going to be eating. It's going to be binge eating. It's going to be, going out on the weekends and, completely abandoning all resolve. So there's things that people do to slow down their progress because they don't feel worthy of the success that they're trying to step into.
Well, what's interesting is I feel like that's in all parts of life. Like for example, like when we talk about success, like, are you ready for success, or do you really want to find success on your weight loss journey or in your business or career? And I think a lot of people, they don't picture, like they don't know what that success looks like for them. They don't picture it. So they're not mentally ready. They're not physically ready, emotionally ready. So when it comes, they're like, oh my gosh. And then here comes like self-sabotage. It's like, I'm like terrified of this success that I've never planned for in my life. And they go back to their regular lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's two types of self-sabotage. It would be fear of success and fear of failure. They're very similar and they wear the same mask, but there's a little bit of a different flavor between the two. Yeah. So it's working with people and trying to discern, the difference between the two. I think one fear of failure would be more looking into the past and saying, I've had these things come up before and I've failed at them in the past. So I don't want to make that same mistake again. And a fear of success is looking into the future and seeing maybe all the responsibility or all the pressure that's going to come with your success. And then you start to feel overwhelmed and you sabotage, right? So it's one's looking in the rearview mirror and one's looking through the front glass, and either way, you're letting fear kind of drive your experience.
Yeah, I think the one like almost looking forward, that fear of success is the one that kind of stands out to me the most, because I think it's easy to be like, oh, I failed in the past, I'm not going to succeed in the future. What's one of the things that you've recommended that might be different or less than conventional that you found success with? Anything you can think of?
Well, something that I'm working on right now is trying to move myself away from being more of an anxiously attached lover into more of a secure lover. This is a lot of work that I'm doing, and I'm doing it semi-publicly, just kind of sharing a little bit of my journey with people. And one thing I've been doing is I'm totally like a hopeless romantic kind of guy. So when I'm like, love songs are on or country music or anything like that, I'm always thinking about the other. So what I'm doing now is when there's a song on, I'm actually sending that love that I would want to like send to another inside to myself. Definitely something less conventional, but it's cool because I think we always got to be looking for things in our lives that we can be turning the love inward on ourselves, because we often need validation, reassurance, love from other to make ourselves feel good. But I think it's important to also have it coming the other way too.
Very interesting. I think that's a great thing because so many times we think about other people so often, and then we see this with our clientele. Our clientele is menopausal type of women, and they're caregivers, and they're always looking after everyone else. And then it comes to a point in time, maybe the kids have moved out, maybe grandkids are on the way, but it's like, and now that everyone is taken care of, there's just me left, and they have no idea how to take care of themselves. Yeah. So I'm
doing a ton of work on that right now in the realm of codependency. I noticed it as a trait within myself that I was starting to play out in relationships, but the way I'm doing it is I'm speaking to the other as well in the sense of, and that's a huge one that I see with, I would say maybe 30% of my clientele would be like mothers, and they really struggle with taking care of self, right? It's all about other. They put everybody else before themselves, and that can be a tough one to break free from.
And so is there something that I'm sure we could talk about this for an entire show, but is there anything that you can recommend to help women put themselves first or take care of themselves instead of always last?
I would say probably the biggest one would be like boundaries, just learning boundaries and how to differentiate yourself from other. It's a little different when you're a caregiver of children, right? Than it is in relationships, because you're actually, when you have a child, you're committing to being the person that takes them along this journey of life, right? But that doesn't mean that you have to completely abandon, again, your self-concept of being an individual. And you don't have to just always wear the hat of the mother. You can take that hat off, and you can also put on the hat of you and start to step into that energy during times when you're not having to wear your hat for being a mom,
True Form Life.
Just want to take a minute to mention Complete Truth Protein again. This is a protein supplement that we designed at True Form. We believe in food. We believe food heals, cures, and prevents. That's why this product is much different than your conventional types of products. Unfortunately, packed with chemicals, preservatives, toxins that our body doesn't know how to utilize, digest, and absorb. So that's why Complete Truth Protein can help improve your digestion and will offer a natural boost of energy. You can find more details at trueformlife.com/complete truth protein.
Trueform Life.
Yeah, it's got to be so difficult. I mean, you bring these children into the world and they look for you for support and protection and survival. And then I think that maybe when they get a little bit older, or I mean, whatever it is, we have to find time for ourselves because we continually put ourselves last. Like mothers don't eat, they don't exercise, they don't take a few minutes for some mindful breathing or meditation. Yeah. And then they're completely dry of any type of energy or life, and then they're still trying to give, but there's nothing left.
Yeah, well, and and that's just it. So a lot of the coaching I do with these moms is teaching them how to refill their tank, right? So fitness, nutrition. I offer transformation coaching in the sense of mindset coaching. So just teaching them ways that they can fill up their tank, because if your tank is empty, you're actually affecting your efficacy of it as a mother. Right, so it only makes you a better mother when you start to take care of yourself.
So, when it comes to nutrition, what kind of recommendations do you have, or what kind of angle do you take with your clients?
The number one key for me when coaching is adherence. If I need to find a program that they can adhere to, so I take two approaches: structured and flexible eating plans, depending on the person's lifestyle, what they want. I always like to start my clients out doing structured, whereas that's where they give me their food diary for what they like to eat over the course of a week, and I build it to their macros and their calories, with obviously some food recommendations if there's things they tell me that they're struggling with, low energy, whatever. And then I like to transition people into more flexible dieting so they can start to make their own food choices, empower themselves, and start to take ownership and tracking their stuff. And then that way they can become more self-sustainable and start to do this on their own. So
I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I feel more comfortable asking this now because I haven't done personal training for a couple of years. So I used to do the nutrition journal as well.
Yeah.
And I would ask someone, like, can you write down your nutrition for me? And they would come to me, they'd be happy with their confidence, they'd be unhappy with their weight, unhappy with their lifestyle, nutrition, exercise. So they would write down in their journal, and it looked like it was copied from it looked like they went to like the bookstore and found a nutrition book and like copied like a perfectly nutrition plan. And I'm like, how am I supposed to help you if you're not going to be real?
When someone's being monitored, they're going to be on their best behavior. So it's actually not a food diary. What I get them to do is fill out it's called a nutrition assessment form. So it gives me an idea of a full idea of exactly what they want to eat in their proteins, carbs, fats, dinner, lunch, breakfast, and then snacks in between. And then I ask questions like, are you open to these foods? What are your guilty pleasures? Do you prefer sweet and salty? So it's more of a thorough assessment, because I did go through a period in my career where I did use the food diary, and I was having the same issue as you. So I'm like, come on. You didn't get to where you're at now because you were eating frickin' broccoli and chicken breast. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, that's fun. But I'm sure we have a bunch of similarities, but that's interesting. So what are some of the challenges when it comes to, like, for us, it's mostly spouses. They're not super interested in making changes and jumping on board, or it's the kids. Like, kids are maybe 10, 12, they're a bit older, and they're used to eating a certain way, which has gotten them, or at least gotten to, in most cases, the mother comes and sees us. So it's gotten the mother to somewhere where she's unhappy with weight and lifestyle or inches. So the biggest challenge is how to get the spouse on board and how to get the kids on board. Have you dealt with that at all?
Yeah, definitely. So usually what it would look like is the spouse is on board for the most part, and they kind of will do their own thing, maybe on lunches. But for breakfast and dinner, they'll have the meal together. And then the kids, it's like, if we're looking at, like, let's say, a pork chop and a sweet potato and broccoli. The kids might have like McCain's sweet potato fries or something like that. You know what I mean? So you got to mix it up a little bit for kids because some kids just won't eat certain things. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about focusing on the individual that I'm working with and supporting her through the process over the course of like every week. I offer my clients a 10-minute coaching call. So that's when we hash out these things and we talk about, okay, well, what are you struggling with? What are the kids struggling with? What is your husband struggling with that we can maybe look at accommodating the plan? But yeah, for the most part, it doesn't seem to be a big issue, actually.
So how does fitness work for you guys? So are you designing a full fitness workout plan for them?
Yeah. So my 3 services in the fitness nutrition realm are going to be nutrition coaching, fitness coaching, or total transformation coaching, which is going to be the combination of both. So you can choose one or the other. And then the Matt Landsiedel Fitness app is basically built. The person downloads it. I go in on the back end and I create everything in there for them fitness wise. And they fill out a questionnaire at first, telling me exactly what they have access to, what they want to do, their activity level, their injuries, anything like that. And I just go ahead and build it for them and they execute. There's little videos that show them how to do everything. So it's pretty straightforward.
Very cool. I think I like these conversations. I like bringing people on like yourself that we have much in common with. I feel like there's a lot of mindset of lack. Like we feel like there's not enough clients and we're not getting enough attention. And maybe there's not enough information out there, which is kind of crazy in this day and age. But it's nice to bring on someone where we kind of have the same or similar mindsets or similar teaching, but it's different. Like we're different people. We have different views at times. We have different ways of sharing messages. But I'd imagine you'd have a few words to say about having a mindset of lack instead of abundance.
Yeah, actually quite a bit, because it's something that I've struggled with. And, you know, my resolve around this issue is going to be the people that are meant to come to work with you are going to come and work with you. It's energetic. People are energetically attracted to your story, to your message, to your energy, to the way you talk. And at the end of the day, if there's competitors in my field, I always honor them with that same rationale, because the clients that they're attracting are not the people that are going to get my message and that are going to take home my message and actually want to work with my message. So the people that come to me are the people that are meant to come with me.
True Form Life.
I just want to mention Complete Truth Protein here once again before I let you go. This is a protein supplement we designed ourselves, made with quinoa and hemp seeds, also maca and stevia. We have 2 different types of products. They both have tons of health benefits. You can bake the original bag, you can bake with. It's perfect for gluten-free flour. If you're celiac or gluten intolerant, we have tons of recipes on trueformlife.com, which include raw protein balls. People absolutely love these ones. We have pancakes, cookies, muffins, all healthy, all clean ingredients. Dorothy puts these together for us on a weekly basis. So if you head over to trueformlife.com, head over to the recipe section. We have all kinds of recipes on how you can use Complete Truth Protein. It's also a vegan and raw product. So if you have any intolerances or if you have any issues with digestion, this will definitely help you out. Once again, that's trueformlife.com/complete truth protein.
True Form Life.
What's the biggest mistake, or maybe for lack of a better word, mistake, or what's the biggest challenge when it comes to setting goals? I feel like we should all set goals in some places in our life, but I also feel like as far as I'm concerned, this is an all-time high of people living in that fearful state of what if I don't reach my goals, so they don't set them at all.
Yeah, exactly. I'd probably say not taking it one day at a time. I would say people, when they, especially on the weight loss journey, if you're thinking about people setting a goal and they have 100 pounds to lose, if you're always looking at the 100 pounds to lose, you're going to want to just give up, right? So it's about, focusing on the baby steps and just taking it one day at a time. And the only time we look in the rearview mirror is to look to see how far we've come. We don't look into the past for shit that's going to hold us back and any of that sort of stuff. It's just, so I would say that's the biggest thing. It's just, we live in a culture of instant gratification. Everybody wants now, right? The technology era, we're little monsters of instant gratification and impulsivity, right? So how can we tone that down a bit, and how can we just put one foot in front of the other and just move towards our goal with patience and with presence, right? Being in the present moment. That is the recipe to success in anything. Because when you're in the present moment, it can exist. Depression, anxiety, none of that can exist when you're in the present moment because you're not focused on things that are bringing you down. You're just focusing on just being, right? And that's what we are. We're human beings. We're meant to just be. We don't always have to be doing.
You know, what's interesting is I was thinking about when you're talking there is the long haul. And I like to talk about this with entrepreneurs when I'm doing some of my entrepreneur videos. Is one of them is being it for the long haul. And I think that many times we're not, like, we don't consider what we can do when it comes to like nutrition or fitness. I say, what can you picture yourself doing for the rest of your life? And that's terrifying to people. They're like, I can't picture doing anything for the rest of my life. But I think that we have such a mindset of what you're saying here, Matt, is that we're thinking about instant gratification or the text message, the microwave, the drive-thru. It's not what's going to happen. And I'm not talking about 3-year or 5-year plan either. I don't like those. I don't like long-term business plans, but I'm talking about like, when you think about nutrition and fitness, when you think about running your own business, can you do this for 10 or 20 years? Because things are going to change. Like, things are always going to change. You're going to have different goals, different mindsets, but can you be in it for the long haul? Is this something that you really want to do? Because, I mean, if you want to gain energy, if you want to drop your inches or lose weight and keep it off, you have to be in it for the long haul. It's not going to work if you're doing it for a week or for a weekend and then hope to see sustainable results.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about it with my clients. You have your long-term lifestyle change, and then you have people that want short-term appearance changes, right? And it's how can I shift you from over here to over here? That's the work that I do, because it's not, the short-term appearance change people aren't going to be able to sustain their goals because their goal is it doesn't have enough depth to it. It doesn't have enough sustainability and longevity like you're talking about, right? So we need to form new habits. We need to form new mindsets. And that is all lifestyle stuff. You know, it's not short term.
All right, Matt, just before we wrap things up here, do you want to, any last message that we missed? And also, I want to give you a chance to talk about your website, your app, anything you want to share with our audience in that regard.
I think we covered everything. I think I'll just kind of share, I developed a program called Evolving Within. So this is a self-directed 12-week transformation course. And it's 12 videos on the mind, 12 videos on the body, 12 videos on the soul. And it's really your permanent solution to weight loss, looking at how can we address all 3 pillars. And it's, you know, this is something that I put a lot of effort and basically took everything I know about making a successful weight loss transformation and planted it into this program. So yeah, I just released that about a month ago. So it's just pretty excited about that and seeing where that's going to go. So, and
how do we find it?
It's all on my website. So it's mattlandsiedel.com, and it's right on the homepage. You can see it there. There's 2 buttons: learn more or register. You can kind of go in and see what the program's all about. It'll take you to the syllabus and show you what the course is. All the videos are going to be there's 36 lectures in the whole thing. So it's a very comprehensive program, and it teaches you everything you need to know about making a successful weight loss transformation.
Awesome. All right, Matt, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us today on Exploring Mind and Body.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
That's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. I hope you got something out of that interview. I loved it. I think it's so cool to connect with someone. I think Matt might be my first interview from someone from Calgary. That's not true. I know I had Rick Titan on the show for sure, but maybe besides that, Matt's the first interview I had from Calgary. So very cool talking to someone from my hometown. This is always important to me to support local and remember where your roots came from. So again, I appreciate Matt coming on. I hope you got a lot out of that show. I certainly did. I think it's so important to look within. So many of us feel that weight loss or results in general are on the outside surface, but it really is deep within. We have to find the root of the issue. We have to find what's lying deep down that's causing us to not be able to continue to drop inches or continue to see results or avoid that self-sabotage that we talked about throughout the interview. So again, thanks to Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. Thank you for sticking around till the end. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. More details are at exploringmindandbody.com. All past shows can be found there. We also have trueformlife.com if you'd like to check out our website to see what we have going on there. And I'm going to leave you with that. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.